Hey, it's Emma Romano here, founder of the Thrive and Life Foundation, self-healing coach, and the midwife to your personal alchemy.
I am 𝘿𝙤𝙪𝙧, founder of the Heaven Within Foundation, CEO of Lifestyle Finance Australia, finance expert, life and business coach.
And you are listening to Inspired Conversations,
where we talk about the things that really matter. Yes, we go there.
We share together what's exciting us, inspiring us, and having the most profound impact on our lives and our clients' lives. And we do this to elevate and inspire you.
We cover it all from life, body, love, relationships, trauma healing, addictions, business, money, and all things woo-woo.
So sit back, relax,
and get ready to be inspired and laugh the fuck out loud.
Welcome everybody. This is Emma Romano and this is
𝘿𝙤𝙪𝙧, and you are listening to Inspired Conversations. And what are we talking about today, Em?
Oh, today is a big one.
You're either going to love us or hate us after today.
Yeah, this is going to rock some people. Do you know what? I'm just going to sit here and to my book, put my 2 bulbs worth in sometimes. But Kel, I want you to explain exactly what we are doing today.
Okay, great. Okay, so I like to think about things a lot, and particularly from a bigger picture perspective. And something that I've been working on very diligently and consciously the last 2 years has been the dissolving of my defense mechanism. And I know that we've spoken about this in earlier episodes and it was really quite popular. And we're bringing it back around again. However, this time from a different perspective. We're talking about it from the point of creation. And this is going to be who's driving your manifestations and who's driving your creations. Is it you as the conscious creator in the driver's seat, or is it your defense mechanisms and your nervous system dysregulation? Because when it's dysregulated and we're not present to it, we don't even realize, but we are not the ones creating our reality. It is our defense mechanism. And this is why we have realities that look like, yay, here's all the great thing I wanted, and oh shit, I've got this chaos over here, that car accident, those bills, those clients that fall through, those constant issues with my health, whatever it might be. Or worse, no matter how hard you try and focus on moving forward and achieving a goal, you never get there. And it makes you think you're broken. So we want to have some fun with you today and talk a little bit more about what does this look like in real time? What does this look like when it is driving and creating your reality, so you can go, yeah, I see you. And then you know where to go and do the work. And it originally came from this question that I've just been sort of mulling over. And I've got a theory. And my theory is, if we were given world peace, solved hunger, solved poverty, and solved global warming tomorrow, waved a magic wand, it wouldn't be long until we were back in a very similar situation, because we see those things as the problem, but they're actually not. What the problem is our nervous system dysregulation, because as above, so below, as within, so without. Whatever is going on with us internally is what we create externally. Out there is never the problem. When we integrate and bring into wholeness and oneness and integrate the duality within us, that is when we create and experience heaven on earth. And if that magic wand was waved, I would bet 10 lifetimes on the line that what would happen after we have this momentary moment of peace and bliss and things being great, what would kick in would be boredom. And then after boredom comes, well, my nervous system is so attuned to be living on the edge and in survival mode that this new level of stability and this new level of comfort feels so foreign that it would have the collective go searching for ways to have that nervous system spike back up to that living on the edge experience. And that would come out typically in greed, judgment, criticism. Help me out here with some of those.
Jealousy, scarcity, all those shitty fucking hatred,
not enough,
blame, all that.
Yeah, because or my idea is better than your idea, so you have to do things my way. And then that tension would come back in. And it's because we didn't solve the cause of the problem. We fixed the symptom, but not the cause of the problem. So what I personally believe is that until we learn how to fix the dysregulation within our own nervous system and bring that into regulation and work on dismantling our own innate defense mechanisms. So if you haven't seen it, highly recommend going back and watching the one that we did. I can't remember what number it was now, but on defense mechanisms, because it takes you in detail through what is fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, until we understand fully what these are and how they're interacting with our nervous system, and then how we're interacting with the world at large. Until we do that, we're just going to keep perpetuating the same problem. But when we learn how to understand when we're in dysregulation, it gives us the power to stop, to regulate, come back into our heart consciousness, because that's where our power of creation is, and then create.
Because the problem we're having in this world is we're making dysregulation and we're making drama and we're making trauma our normal. By regulating our nervous system, and what we mean by regulation is this: we need to make it calm. We need to heal the wounds. So the way you'll find out if you're manifesting consciously or through drama and dysregulation is through your habits and behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way you do it. So you'll only manifest, you will never manifest what you think. You can think about a Ferrari until the fucking cows come home. But if you know what I mean? But if you've got a car in the driveway that's a heap of shit, but you don't wash it, you don't clean it, you're not ready for a fucking Ferrari. So you will only manifest your habits and behaviors. And our unconscious habits and behaviors are creating a really drama-filled fucking world. Like, I look at families. I mean, Kel, you know, I do a lot of work with relationships with families.
Mm-hmm. You're amazing at it.
Thanks, babe. And the biggest thing I say to my parents is this: I go, allow your kids to be bored. It is safe to be bored. Stop filling every fucking second. If your kid comes to you and says you're bored, do not give them options. Don't sit there and say, oh, you can do this and this and this and this and this and this and this. Just say, okay, that's okay to feel bored. Safe to feel bored. Let them self-regulate it.
Gosh, that's so powerful.
Because we, even you and I, Kel, our parents told us what to think, what to feel, what to say, what to do. Like, I'm sad. What are you going to fucking be sad for? Go and eat some biscuits or something. You won't be sad then. Or go and play. You won't be sad. Okay, so I'm not allowed to feel sad.
And if I do, I stuff my face with food.
Exactly. And two, guess what? I can't even find out how not to be sad because someone will tell me how to do it instead. So what we get addicted to as humans is feelings. So this is interesting. What we can be addicted to is filling ourselves with drama. And then, so say if I fill myself with drama and then I go to Kelly and go, Kel, this thing happened. And then Kelly goes, oh, babe, don't worry. It's okay. I'm not addicted to the drama as much. I might be addicted to the part where Kelly goes, oh, babe, that's okay. And then my unconscious mind, that's happened a few times, probably roughly around the age of 2 to 3, consistently. So then my unconscious mind goes, I have to fall over, or I have to have some kind of upset or throw a tantrum for me to get the, oh, it's okay, and then I'll feel better. So this is what we are manifesting. We're manifesting our behaviors. We're manifesting our habits. And this is where we've got to be consciously aware of what the fuck am I doing that's blocking what I want. And this is what Kel is going really deep into. Kel, I'll just let you keep going. You go for it, girlfriend.
I really love what you shared there, because this really is about slowing time down.
Yes.
And really listening to what's going on in our thinking and what's going on in our feeling. So last year, I learned about something called an emotional flashback. Pete Walker talks about this in his complex post-traumatic stress disorder book, From Surviving to Thriving. I think I've mentioned it before.
Yeah.
This like radically changed my life. I never would have thought about myself as somebody who had a dysregulated nervous system until I came across this. I just thought, I don't know, I thought there was something weird about me or broken, but I never really spoke about it and never really said this out loud. I just kind of like, brushed it under that carpet, that pile that you don't ever look under, and you just hope that nobody that the carpet's covering in the corner of the roof. So it was one of those things, but I didn't really, I don't know, it wasn't until I had this light put on it that I was like, holy fuck, that happens to me all the time. I'm not broken. And so it's called an emotional flashback. And what an emotional flashback is, it is when you have experienced significant trauma in the past as a child. And now when I say significant trauma, that it's all relative, right? Depending upon what you made that mean and what you experienced as a child, the significant scale is relevant. So there's the obvious things like abuse, sexual abuse, assault, that when we think of trauma, these are typically the thoughts that come up. And I know like we're starting to enter into this space that could potentially be triggering. So please, I go into this space with the utmost love and the utmost respect for anybody who's experienced any time where they have felt absolutely powerless and it has caused trauma in their field. It is something that I would never wish upon anyone. And if it is bringing stuff up for you, again, feel free to reach out to us. If we can help you, we absolutely will, or we'll at the very least point you in the right direction where you can get the support that you need. Anyway, back to where we're going with the emotional flashback. So it could be the traditional trauma that we think about, or it could be to the more subtle when we start talking about emotional neglect. And this can happen really simply, not simply is not the right word, that's oversimplifying it. It can happen really subtly over a long period of time without you even realizing. But what happens to the child when they've experienced significant trauma is that it's been so painful for them that they block out the memory. And there's no memory of what happened. But this is what happens in adult life. You're la la la, having a great day, happy as Larry, and for no reason, boom, you're just flooded with shame. Or boom, you're just flooded with anxiety. Or boom, anger. And you're like, what the fuck just happened? And depending upon how you operate, you could, like I did, stuff that right down. Let's just stick that under that carpet and pull that over it and hope that nobody sees it. And let's just pretend everything's okay because there's no reason why I should be feeling like that, and ignore it. Or you could get sucked into it and then have all the obsessive, compulsive, intrusive thoughts like, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, that person doesn't love me, they're clearly not replying because I'm not important, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm like, all of the thoughts come racing forward and you get stuck in the identity of it. So either way, it can happen either way or both. There's no particular like one size fits all here. But this is when I learned, I was like, fuck man, that happens to me all the time. No wonder I keep creating, yay, reality I want, followed by, oh, the chaos and the drama that goes with it because of where my nervous system was calibrated to. And when I started to realize that an emotional flashback was even a thing and associated with complex post-traumatic stress, which is different from post-traumatic stress, which is where you flashback thinking that you're in the situation. So an example would be, a common example of post-traumatic stress disorder is when somebody's come back from war and they hear a car backfire, but it takes them right back into battle and they actually think they're in battle. Whereas the complex post-traumatic stress disorder is more in terms of emotional flashbacks. And again, like It's very, very simplified definitions of it. But this for me, when I understood that, I was like, oh my God, my nervous system, like, no wonder I feel like my body's doing all these different things. And it just didn't match how I was feeling in my head. Like, so my body was having this experience versus what was going on between my ears. And then learning to regulate my nervous system and bring harmony to the two. Oh my God, life has been so much more peaceful, and my internal world has been so much more happy. And these flashbacks have become less and less and less. And they went in waves. First, it was anxiety, and because I had a very dysregulated flight defense mechanism. And from there, when I brought down the anxiety, then after that came shame. Oh, all the flashbacks of all the shame. And it was sitting in and feeling the emotion and being present with the emotion and going back and like connecting with the part of me. How old was I at that moment? And feeling into that part of me and giving that part whatever it needed, or doing whatever needed to be done with that situation, then integrating them back into my heart in the now moment to bring in that regulation. And going back, Kim, before we jump further into it, have you had any experiences like this, Em, with your own nervous system regulation and your own journey through really bringing harmony?
Yeah, I had a double whammy PTSD. So I'd never heard of it. I didn't know what PTSD was, and I had a double whammy. So one was the emotional one, and that's when I was kidnapped in Santorini when I was 24, and I never went back to the scene because I was drugged out, but I went back to the emotion. And it would be when I would see a certain person, it would hit my whole system. And it was a real shame system, massive shame system. And then the second PTSD I got was when I was 31. So that was 24. And then when I was 31, when I had Ben, my second son, I had him at 26 weeks gestation. And which means he was in hospital for 3.5 months. But the 3 weeks beforehand, I had left my husband, left a country, had a 1-year-old, and then had a baby, and I had nowhere to live. So all this stuff happened. And then within 10 days, they wanted to turn Ben's life support off. And I went a little bit nuts in the room and went, no, bring him back, because I knew intuitively that he would be okay. Medically, like, he was ticking all the boxes that he wouldn't be okay, but I knew intuitively that he would be okay. And he's great. He's beautiful
He's amazing.
He's gorgeous. He's 19. And I had so much trauma. But can I just explain the damage that my PTSD did to Ben? And I'm going to say this is going to be very controversial to a lot of people. You can 100% heal PTSD. Right, is a decision that your brain, the only reason you literally have PTSD is because your brain is trying to save you from something so fucking traumatic again. So smells, sounds, thoughts, feelings, it could be anything. It'll go danger, alert, alert, alert. You can do a process, and that's timeline reset, right? Timeline reset, not the normal NLP one. And that will remove PTSD. If the client wants it to. So it's a permission based. So the problem with having PTSD, I always thought of when Ben was born, it was so traumatic. And, you know, he couldn't cry. He wasn't allowed to cry. He would be crying, but he had a tube down his throat. You can't hear him. And it was very traumatic for me. And I always thought it was so sad. It was so sad this little boy was in hospital for 3.5 months. It was so sad that I couldn't hold him. It was so sad, his development. It was so sad. And then that was a major part of the PTSD and the shame around me not being able to hold a child all the way until the end of the term. What happened, my uterus ruptured. I was asleep and it just ruptured.
Wow.
So my problem was, I was putting that energy on my son, that he was sad, that his birth wasn't beautiful. And by getting rid of the PTSD, what I did, I had to flip the story. And I flipped the story into, actually, he's a walking fucking miracle. He's an absolute walking miracle. He shouldn't be here. Actually, he should be here. But, you know what I mean? But really, medically, there's no reason why both of us are alive during that.
Yeah.
My uterus had ruptured, and it was about 5 hours until they discovered it. And usually you have about 7 minutes and you both die.
Wow.
Yeah, it was incredible. So I had to get rid of that PTSD because I had to allow my son to love himself. And unfortunately, I didn't know you could heal PTSD until 14 years later. It's when I started learning NLP, and I removed it during NLP with an incredible coach, Eli, amazing guy. And he took me through a process, and it lasted about 7 minutes, and bang, I was just like, holy shit, I just looked at the whole thing differently. Like, I couldn't even smell hand sanitizer, because every time you walk in the NICU, the nursery intensive care unit, you got to wash your hands in hand sanitizer. So Ben's baby smell was hand sanitizer. He didn't have a baby smell. It was hand sanitizer. You know, so he had chemicals that his baby smells. So anytime he smells a certain chemical, it'd trigger. You know, I couldn't, if somebody sent me a clipping about, it used to really trigger me. People used to say to me, oh, there's an article about premature babies, and I would not talk to them for months. You know, it's when you're in that PTSD, it is so fucking lonely, and it's so insular. And I look at when I had the PTSD of how much drama and chaos, 100% fucking chaos, that I would manifest literally daily. I would manifest some great shit, but came with it. If I had something good, you can be assured that 3 loads of fucking drama would follow it.
Yeah, and I bet it wasn't always necessarily your drama. Oh
God, no. But wherever there was drama, I would put myself right in the fucking middle of it.
Me too. And
even if it had nothing to do with me.
Yep, I could definitely save you or rescue you or hero that situation. Hero you right out. And this is the fawn, right? The fawn says, I have to make your needs my needs for me to be okay. And then the dysregulation comes in. And this is why, like, I pose that question, like, if we solved all of the world's problems, how long would it be before we're back there? Because solving the world's problem does not solve these underlying things that create the chaos. Like, I always joke, my favorite story, and this is recent, and this was the story that changed my life, and I was already taking this seriously. And then this one.
Cal, are we about to hear your amazing penis story?
My return to penis party? Yes, we are.
Are we about to talk about your return to penis party? Oh my God, everyone, you're going to love this story.
I spoke about this publicly for the first time this week at Gabby's Quantum Shift Magic School, when we were like delivering about the defense mechanisms. And she's like, tell the story. And I'm like, how much of the story? She's like, the whole story. And I'm like, you really mean like the whole story? She's like, yep, do it.
Okay, kids, if you got any kids listening to this, this is not going to be PG.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, they're your clients. If you want it, you've got it. This is at best R-rated story, at worst X, and let's call it X for extra fun. So here's what happened. And this goes to show, and like, this was the nail in the coffin for me. So here I am, 6 weeks post ending a 3.5-year engagement to a woman, hence the name Return to Penis Party. Because I'm not gay, always been bisexual. And at the time that I met this person, I wasn't looking to be with a woman. I was looking for a man. But this person ticked all the boxes on the things that I was looking for. And because she was a woman, I was unable to see all of the dysregulation in her that I would have normally seen in a man and gone, no thanks. But because she was a woman, it slipped right through my unconscious mind, my unconscious mind went, great. Now I've got somebody to work my shit out with, because it was never going to happen with a man because you were too cluey and said that you never were going to attract somebody like your father. So we'll just put them in a woman's body and let's see how it goes. So essentially, and then again, nervous system dysregulation, guys, manifestation, like that one is a story on its own, but this is how it's come out here. So here I am having a return to penis party, 6 weeks ending this relationship. It had become extremely toxic, and it had been like that for both of us for 3.5 years, probably at least 2, maybe even 2.5, if I'm really honest. It was after the first 12 months that shit got real, and both of our dysregulation just started co-creating. It was no longer our hearts creating. So, but me being me and being like, nope, I'm ready for this. I am over it. I heal really fast. I've done so much work. Thought, right, now it's time to have a return to penis party. So I'm going to hire the hottest topless waiter and the hottest male stripper I can find. And I'm going to have this sacred ceremony with a few of my best friends. And it's going to be this beautiful initiation and return to divine masculine and divine penis energy. I was so like, yes. And this, with this party too, I was like, I'd also like within this, so we'd set some beautiful sacred intentions. And when I originally planned this party, it was going to be the party to remember. There was going to be like alcohol and everything else that goes with it, and like just fun, really unadulterated fun. I needed it. I wanted to have that experience where you're like that lusty after somebody and you're all googly eyed. Like I wanted to feel that, here we go, rush in my nervous system, because I was over feeling kind of the boredom, the apathy, the resentment, the anger, the grief. I wanted to feel, nervous system again, something exciting. So I also, within that time frame, had decided maybe we're not going to make it a party like that. I'm going to choose a sober lifestyle, because I'm going to take my nervous system stuff seriously. So I'm going to cut out alcohol, sugar, coffee, gluten, dairy, all of the things. And the first thing that I was starting with was alcohol. So here we are, 6 weeks later, 2 weeks into a new sober lifestyle. And the stripper that I found, oh my God, he's so hot. And the most gorgeous, loveliest guy. So as I tell this story, this guy is like nothing but an absolute gorgeous sweetheart. And this is what happened in my internal world. So the party comes around, and I found this guy on, like, first I found him on Instagram, and I love sitting on Insta Reels and looking at the cute cat videos. And I'm like, cute cat video, cute cat video, cute cat video. And about every 1 to my 10 cat videos was this like hot Instagram model. And I was like, whatever, stop bothering me. Like, let me get back to my cats. And then marketing says you need to see something about 17 times before you pay attention to it. Well, let's just say it took me about 10 times for him to pop up in my cat videos before I was like, all right, I'll have a look at your page. And then I realized that this person was a stripper in Melbourne, and I'm like, huh. And then I went downstairs and I said to my best friend and one of my other best friends, I was like, hey, I want to have a return to penis party, because not long before they had just hosted a hen's night for one of my other really good girlfriends, and there were strippers there, but I didn't get to see the strippers. And I've always had a bit of a weakness for male strippers. So I was like, let's have a return to penis party. Let's have a return to penis party. And let's get like one of the waiters from then, and let's get this really hot stripper, and let's do it on a Sunday so they don't have to rush off if they don't want to, because nobody books shows on Sundays because everybody works. And they're like, okay. So they book the party. A month later comes around, and we're at the night, and I'm sober, my nervous system's really raw, and I'm like, oh, the guy's gonna come, and oh, I'm gonna get a lap dance, and oh, it's gonna be so fun. And in my body, I'm feeling like, oh, I just want a drink. I'd really love a drink. And I'm like, nope, you promised you were going to be sober. You're choosing a different lifestyle. You're doing something different. I know you really want to drink and you want to take the edge off it, but this is going to be a sober experience for you. You can do it, right? Anyway, they come. One of them I knew from the previous party. And then this one, I just turned into, so you know, when you get that rush of norepinephrine and you get the dopamine and you kind of go a bit giddy and you're like, ah, they're like, what's your name? And you're like, ah.
Oh, so you turn into a 15-year-old.
right? But I looked really pretty. Like my outfit, I was on point.
Turn into a 15 who looked hot.
You into 15-year-old girls, I was hot. Oh, that just got worse by the second. No, I did not look 15. I looked like an adult woman. The intelligence of a young person. Anyway, and I'm like so mind you, when this happens, your nervous system's already dysregulated. If you can't access your like the normal parts of you, like my normal charming, fun, witty self, and I'm stuck in this like ha ha kind of space, my nervous system's already dysregulated, just to give you kind of like the tip here. But I'm like, you know what, if I can't say anything intelligent, I'm just going to be quiet and look pretty, right? Because at least that way I can't get myself into trouble. They're just going to think I'm shy.
Right, go on.
the thing goes on, right? Now, after a couple of strip shows later, there was dipping sauce and there was like fruits and oil and there was all kinds of shit. I'm finally like, we all get cleaned up because we had just chocolate dipping sauce everywhere from one of the shows. It was really fun. Anyway, then we totally like ticking off the intention of just really indulging and heating this stick, innocent fun pleasure. And I'm standing in the kitchen with the girls and the hot stripper, and they were talking about these crystals in my friend's bedroom. And they're like, hey, go show person the crystals. And I'm like standing there like dumb mute, like, oh. And then I get an elbow from my other friend, like, Kelly, why don't you take him upstairs and show him the crystals? And I was like, oh, okay. But mind you, I'm still 15-year-old girl intelligence in a grown woman. You know, so I'm like, oh, come with me. And I walk in and I'm like, oh, look, here's the crystals. And he's like, oh, cool. And then he asked me some question. And then I don't know what I said. I must have mumbled something really dumb. And I don't think he cared too much. And I said, look, I'm so sorry. I'm not usually like this. I'm just really nervous around you. And just like you see in the movies, instead of saying anything, he just leans over and kisses me. And I'm like, oh my God, in my head, like, oh my God, I'm making out with hot guy. And I can feel my nervous system, right? I can feel my whole body having a freak out and being like, oh, I know what's about to happen next. He knows what's about to happen next, but my body's not really ready to do it. But in my mind, I'm like, in 6 months' time, in 12 months' time, when you're 80 and looking back on this, what are you going to regret more? You chickening out or you going all in and having this experience? So I did what any normal person would do. I doubled down, started taking clothes off because that's the normal thing to do, right?
She felt the fear and did it anyway, peeps. That's what she did.
I didn't say, hey, look, you know, can we just slow down a little bit? I'm totally up for this ride. Just need to slow down a little bit. Just need to catch my breath and actually be in this moment with you. No, that's not what I did. No, doubled down. So my nervous system had already gone from freeze. So here I am in this state of like 15-year-old girl, total freeze, not knowing how to communicate. Then when all of a sudden I'm starting to I'm having that experience, like I fantasized about that happening multiple times before it happened. And anyway, so here I am, like this moment, you'd be thinking my world's about to get rocked in ways that I can't even imagine. And it could have, except that's just not where my nervous system was at. So one, I'm frozen. Then I'm feeling in my body, I want to run. But instead of stopping and saying, hey, can we slow down a little bit? I fawn and double down and go, cool, let's start taking clothes off. So I've overridden my body twice, and then to the point, like 3 times in that moment, I've frozen, I've fawned, and I've tried to run and didn't, and ran the opposite direction, run forward. And then what happened? Then I find myself having this amazing moment with this incredible guy. He's an absolute sweetheart. And I was completely unaware of any of this stuff going on within my inner world, because I'm very good. And again, when depending upon how you're wired and how you experience your nervous system and defense mechanisms, I'm so good. I don't want you to know what's going on my inner world. You won't. So all this is happening on the inside, and he's completely unaware. He's just trying to please me and welcome me back to penis and give me the experience of a lifetime. Like, his heart was definitely in it, but my poor body anyway, so then I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, what if they walk in from downstairs? What if they know what I'm doing? I'm like, of course they know what you're doing. They sent you up here. Anyway, then I had to be like, time out. Like, I just could not handle what was going on in my inner world anymore. And for me, that was the line in the sand. I'm like, that is the last time I manifest for myself like that. I don't care what it takes, what I have to do, but I am learning to bring regulation to my nervous system. So what I create, I can feel and experience and enjoy at the level that I'm creating it, without the drama and the chaos. So for me, the drama and the chaos in that moment wasn't anything to do with him. It was in my inner world. And this is what can happen when we've got dysregulated nervous systems. This is how we experience reality, literally our dreams, with all this other shit around it. So that's my return to penis party. That was the thing that changed my life, because I promise you, if I had got away with that, if I had got what I wanted, if I had that party that I thought I was going to have, and if I had been able to feel the level of pleasure and play and fun and everything that was actually available to me that night to feel, and I didn't have to face off with that, I guarantee I'd still be doing the exact same things and getting away with things I shouldn't be, and wondering why do I keep creating with so much chaos or drama? But that stopped me dead in my tracks. And it's funny, because we don't get what we want. We get what we need. And the question is, are you listening?
I love that, Kel. It is the best it is just the best story. I love it. Thank you so much for being so raw and sharing that literally with the world now.
Yeah, with the world now.
For the second time, babe. That's huge. Second time in a couple of days. Oh my God. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing, you know, and we want all of you guys to listen to this, you know, just check in. Whatever you're manifesting right now is exactly what you are manifesting right now. It's not happening to you. Like, it's happening for you, because if you keep manifesting the same fucking drama, there's something that's going on with you. And then you can take the opportunity, instead of going, oh, it's so-and-so's fault, or it's this one's fault. You're completely powerless. When you go, hang on, what's my vibration? What's my frequency? What are my agreements? What's my trauma? What's my shame? And you heal those wounds and you feel the feelings. It's important to feel the feelings. Don't live in your fucking misery. But there's such a healthy way to sit there and visit it and go, don't live in it, visit it, but have a good visit, really sit in it and sit there and go, right, well, what do I need to heal? And don't go into, this is one thing that you don't need to go to an event, because what will happen is you'll try and create an event that will match the emotion, and it's impossible. And that's where people start creating stories around old events. You'll hear people do it, you know, when they talk about an old story and then the story gets bigger and the story gets grander. It's not they're actually lying. What it is, they're trying to match the event or the thing that happened to how heightened the emotion is. And unfortunately, when we're talking about something, it's like, say somebody upsets me and it really fucking hurts me, like really hurts me. And I call Kel, I go, Kel, this woman said this. She's like, yeah. Oh, well, that doesn't match up to the emotion. I better tell Kel something even bigger now. I better make that much juicier. Because then what we do is we go into, oh, now I feel shame because my story is not as eventful as my emotion. And then that's when people start making shit up. So we really want to look at there is no healing in the event. There just isn't. There's no healing in the problem of the event. The healing is looking at the emotion and literally asking your unconscious mind and your body, is it okay to release this? And when you wanted to release it, you must replace it with something. That's the fucking key. What are you going to replace it with? What other story are you going to replace it with? Like Ben, you know, I had so much sadness and trauma around Ben's birth. And then I switched it. I switched it to, hang on, he's a fucking walking miracle. Now, anyone else, billions of people could have said to me, Emma, he's a walking miracle. But I didn't believe it. And I'm going to give everyone a top tip here. If you tell somebody what to say, what to do, how to think, how to feel, you're only using 5% of the brain. If you ask somebody a really great quality question, like, how else can you look at that? You're actually using every neuron in the brain. You're firing them up. So we've got to stop dumping information on people and start asking people really in-depth questions, because everyone has the answer to their problems. You're all knowing. You've just started believing that you're not. So we encourage you, Kelly and I encourage you, look deep within, allow yourselves to feel and fucking heal.
Yeah, and that's where the power is. And for me, like, my body knew it had me in that moment, because there was no alcohol, there was no drugs, there was just me.
Yeah. No hiding.
No hiding. It knew if it had me by the metaphorical throat. I had nowhere to go. And
had to buy the short and curly styles.
Yeah,
That's what we say in Australia.
It did. And that, for me, that was the last time I let my defense mechanism create my reality for me.
Oh, boom. Did you hear that, everyone? That is the last time she allowed her defense mechanism create her reality.
Yeah.
When it's going to be the last time that you guys are going to do that? Is it today?
Yeah.
Interesting. It's so fucking interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Kel. What an amazing episode.
Yeah, it's a fun story. I actually quite enjoy it. The amount of people I have now on the list for a new, like a take 2 return to penis party, it's growing by the day.
Yeah.
Like, do I have to have been with a woman to have a return to penis party? I'm like, no.
No, you
have
don't.
any excuse.
You can just have good penis, return to good penis parties.
Yeah. Or even better penis parties.
Yeah, better penis.
But yes, so look, this is where it starts. And every time you make the decision that that's the last time your defense mechanism creates your reality for you, you're doing your part in changing the chaos and everything's wrong, everything that we see in the world that's an inverted commas concern or not right or wrong, because it starts here, it starts with us. When we change here, out there changes. And this is where we have the power.
Did you hear that? We all have the power. You have been listening to Kel and Em from Inspired Conversations.
Make sure you like this, share it with a friend, come join us in the group, make sure you're on our mailing list. There will be some links that come next after this bit. We love you and have a magical day.
We love you. Mwah.